Hello everyone, welcome to the Autring. The United Nations are strongly condemning the drone strikes in Abu Dhabi in which two Indians were killed. India has termed the attacks on innocent civilians and infrastructure as, quote, blatant violation of international law, stressing that the Security Council should stand united in sending a clear signal against such heinous acts of terror. At a Security Council open debate on the Middle East on Wednesday, India's permanent representative to the UN, Ambassador T.S. Tirumurthy, expressed strong condemnation of the recent terror attack in Abu Dhabi, in which three people, including two Indians, tragically lost their lives. Such an attack on innocent civilians and civilian infrastructure is completely unacceptable. It is a blatant violation of international law. It is also against all civilized norms, he said. Emphasizing that India stands in solidarity with the UAE, Mr. Tirumurthy said New Delhi extends its full support for an unequivocal condemnation by the Council of this terrorist attack. It is important that the Council stands united in sending a clear signal against such heinous acts of terror. On the morning of January 17th, the Houthis targeted the Musafa ICAD-3 area and the new construction area at Abu Dhabi International Airport, both of which are civilian infrastructure. The attacks, which led to the explosion of three petroleum tankers, killed two Indian civilians and one Pakistani civilian and injured six other civilians, including two Indians. The Houthis confirmed responsibility for the attacks. A statement from the UAE mission here said. The United Arab Emirates had requested a meeting of the UN Security Council to address the Houthi terrorist attacks in Abu Dhabi. External Affairs Mr. S. Jaishankar on Tuesday had a telephonic conversation with the Foreign Minister of UAE, Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, during which the two discussed the terror attack. Mr. Jaishankar condemned the terror attack in the strongest terms and emphasized that, quote, in this day and age, such an attack on innocent civilians was completely unacceptable and against all civilized norms. Mr. Tirumurthy also voiced deep concern by recent developments in the West Bank, Jerusalem and Gaza. Violent attacks on civilians have increased in recent weeks. Attacks of destruction and provocation are continuing. New settlement units have been announced. We call upon parties to immediately make concrete efforts to reverse these actions, he said. India underlined that such unilateral measures unduly alter the status quo on the ground, undercut the viability of two-state solution and pose serious challenges to the resumption of peace talks. They must be eschewed. Mr. Tirumurthy highlighted the urgent necessity for reversing the negative trends on the ground and the need for a roadmap for the resumption of direct political negotiations. He said the international community must also send a strong signal against any step that will prevent the possibility of durable peace between Israel and Palestine in the near future. It is extremely important to prevent actions that undermine confidence-building measures. The parties must focus on constructive measures. India noted that it is, quote, encouraged by direct contacts between Israel and Palestinian leadership. Mr. Tirumurthy termed as, quote, welcome developments, the recent meeting between Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas and Israeli Defense Minister Benny Gantz, and the subsequent Israeli announcement to continue the advancement of socio-economic measures along with those determined in the previous meetings, such as the advancing of the transfer of tax payments and status approvals. Quote, such initiatives which are in the interest of both parties help maintain stability and discourage possible recurrence of terror and violence, he said. Full and immediate implementation of these measures and continued high-level interactions must be accompanied by a clear roadmap for the early resumption of direct negotiations and all final status issues, which we believe is the best path towards achieving the goal of a two-state solution, he said. Mr. Tirumurthy reiterated India's, quote, firm and unwavering commitment to the peaceful resolution of the Palestinian issue and said New Delhi has supported a negotiated two-state solution leading to the establishment of a sovereign, independent and viable state of Palestine, living within secure and recognized borders side by side at peace with Israel. He said India has consistently called for direct peace negotiations between Israel and Palestine based on the internationally agreed framework, taking into account legitimate aspirations of the Palestinian people for statehood and Israel's legitimate security concerns. Thank you all so much for watching. For further updates, please stay tuned to the Autring.